Well, it's very, very good to see you all at this final assembly of the year. And I just wish you were here with me in the theatre, although of course we wouldn't all fit, we would be over in the sports hall. We've got a few things as always for the final assembly, but I want to start with the idea that I was brought up with when I was little, and I'm sure you were as well, a sort of diet of Disney, a diet of happily ever after, and they all lived happily ever after. And I remember when I was little thinking about that and thinking, what does that mean? Does that mean they had what they wanted to eat? Does that mean that they had a cuddle when I was little? That's what I thought would be nice. What does a happily ever after mean? And, in Disney we meet the main characters and things go well for a while, don't they? And then stuff goes a little bit wrong, but in the end it's going to be okay. And there's a nice song at the end and everybody's smiling and it's good. But of course, life isn't always like that. And I think we've really lived a moment where happily ever after hasn't been really necessarily the reality for many, many, many tens of thousands of people around the world this year. So I think there is something, of course, though, we can learn. I think as young people, one of the things that we all strive for is trying to understand our way in the world and trying to maybe gain a little bit of wisdom. It's not just all about your grades and learning some history or some physics or some chemistry or mathematics or whatever. You're trying to learn a way in life, how to make your way in life. And I kind of think that what this time will teach us all is to actually say, well, happily ever after is not something where it's all saccharine and smiley and lovely. It's actually being able to cope with whatever life throws at us. And it's thrown something huge this year. So, number one, I'd say to you, to live that happily ever after bit, to live that life, is to accept that life isn't perfect. I say it so many times. We're not perfect. Life isn't perfect. And actually, when we accept that, then we can deal with with the bad things that are thrown at us. Also, I think to accept that we're not fully in control. I think we all lead fairly privileged lives, and it's easy for us to think, oh, well, I can control this, and if my parents do this, and if I do that, then this will be okay. And of course, that isn't true. So we've got to, again, embrace that sense that we're not in control, and it's okay. And then what you've got to do is try to seize the day and enjoy the day. Enjoy what it is you're going through today. I have a wonderful audience here of two of my colleagues from Concord and a lot of Concord Bears. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying this moment in my day. And I urge you, wherever you are and whenever you are in your futures, to try to enjoy your day and find something wonderful if you can. And the final thing, I think, to allow us to live happily ever after is to treasure the love and the friendship and the relationships that we have. Those most important building blocks of our lives. These kind of hard moments bring into sharp focus what's most important to us all. And so I hope you've found some of that as you've gone through these times, these last few weeks and months. So our final assembly then is a chance to celebrate, to share some thoughts, as I've already done and will do a little bit more of, and you'll hear a few other voices as well as mine. But I would like to thank, of course, and please join with me in some way, thanking the teachers, the tutors, the heads of house, the heads of year, the senior management, the support staff, the chefs, the cleaners, the maintenance staff, the IT staff, and so on and so on. Our wonderful staff team who've worked so hard throughout the year and particularly, honestly, in the last few months to try to make your education as good as possible. It would be a case of joining together for a round of applause, but they won't hear us. But please applaud from your heart and give thanks if you're able. Please do consider everything they've done for you and maybe drop them a note if you can. We're very lucky in the assembly today to have a short presentation of some photos to remind you of the year that we had before we had to part. So I hope you'll enjoy these photographs. Well, we also have some teachers leaving and retiring this year, and this is a moment I'd like to just take a few minutes to give some thanks and to recognise their contributions. The first is Mrs. McElrath, and Mrs. McElrath has taught at Concord for 23 years. She teaches mathematics, and the reason I've taken her first is actually she has retired once, I know she won't mind me saying that, and came back to teach part-time. She has been a wonderfully warm, kind and skilled teacher throughout her time at Concord. We'll miss her smile and I wish her well in her retirement. Now I move on to Dr. Alston. Dr. Alston has taught at Concord for 10 years. He joined us as head of biology, went on to become head of science and of biology, and then latterly has taught biology and chemistry part-time as he's been moving towards his new vocation. And Dr. Alston is a colleague who I've just... his kindness is extraordinary. I think that's the best way I can put it. Of course, he's a skilled teacher, but his kindness, his warmth, his humanity is enormously appreciated. I've got something from one of his students who said, Dr. Alston was my form tutor and biology teacher, and he made us feel at home straight away with his wonderful charisma. He used to play the ukulele for us and said a little prayer for us each time it came to exams. Every Friday, one person from our tutor group was asked to introduce a song that meant something to them, and he collated those songs into a CD for us to keep at the end of the year. It showed how much you wanted to get to know us, and he certainly touched our hearts. And that's a beautiful sentiment, I think, for any teacher to hear from a former student. Dr. Alston goes on to a new vocation, as I say, as a minister in the Church of England, and I wish him well and happiness in that life, which I'm sure he will be ideally suited to. Now I move on to Mr. Hayward. Mr. Hayward has taught at Concord since September 1994. For 26 years, he's taught accounting and economics, and has been a hugely skilled, considered, and expert teacher of his subjects. He's taken great care in everything that he's done. And again, maybe I'll just pause over a couple of things that former students have said about Mr. Hayward. Somebody wrote that accounting was never more special than with Mr. Hayward. Be well, sir. And another student wrote, I appreciated his knowledge and style of teaching, and that he's a great macroeconomics teacher with a good sense of humour and someone who's widely loved by his former students. We wish Mr. Hayward well in the next step of his life, and hope he will enjoy the reading that he's hoping to take on, hill walking, and his many, many other interests, and his lovely family. And finally, I move on to Mr. Webb. Mr. Webb has taught at Concord amazingly for 28 years, since 1992. He's taught economics, he's taught geography, and for a while he was Concord's only geography teacher. He's taught photography, and then he was for many, and is now for many years, head of humanities, which has covered economics, business studies, geography, accounting, law, history, and RS. So he's got many strings to his bow. He's had a tutor group for every year he's been at Concord. And he also worked on our summer courses for 2 summers. Mr. Webb is retiring from teaching and looking forward to spending time again with his family and pursuing other interests with his very active mind. And again, I'd just like to share with you a thought or two from former students. Someone wrote, I enjoyed Mr. Webb's GCSE lessons very much. They were fun, engaging and informative. In class, this particular student, used to ask lots of questions, which often made my classmates cringe. But Mr. Webb was always patient, responding to my comments. He was a great help in my university application as well, a few essay competitions, and even after I graduated. What a lovely, again, testament to a teacher, somebody who's given not just to those in front of them, but to those who've left. That shows the special commitment that Mr. Webb has to Concordians in the past, and I'm sure will continue as well in the future. Mr. Webb, we wish you well and thank you for all you've brought to Concord. And I'm sure you'd want to join with me in wishing that entire group of very fine educators well in the next stage of their lives. I wanted to take the chance to thank you for the work that you've put in this term. It hasn't been easy. I realise that. To keep motivated when you are so far away from the school and from each other. And just thank you for being involved in the lessons and for taking your exams so seriously. And I want to highlight actually, how proud I am of you. You've been amazing. So thank you. We've got a piece of music now from Coco Han, who has written a song called Proud of You. And it says quite a lot, I think. And Coco, thank you very much for doing this.
Hello everyone, I'm Coco, and I hope you are all safe and well. It's a pleasure to see that we can still enjoy the music together like we used to at Concord, and using this online channel. So the song I want to share with you guys today is called Proud of You. I once saw a very inspiring TED talk. It says, confidence is the necessary spark before everything that follows. So if you're having a bad day, take a deep breath. Remember, it's just a bad day, not a bad life. So I really hope that no matter what the situation you came across, you can always have the belief that someone is always there to inspire and encourage you to become a brave individual who can always face any difficulties or tasks in life.
Love in your eyes, sitting silent by my side, going on, holding hands, walking through the nights. Hold me up, hold me tight, lift me up to touch the sky, teaching me to love with heart, helping me open my mind. I can fly, I'm proud that I can fly, to give the best of my till the end of the time. Believe me, I can fly, I'm proud that I can fly, to give the best of my, the heaven in the sky. Stars in the sky, wishing once upon a time. Give me love, make me smile till the end of life. Hold me up, hold me tight, lift me up to touch the sky, teaching me to love with heart, helping me open my mind. I can fly, I'm proud that I can fly, to give the best of mine till the end of the time. Believe me, I can fly, I'm proud that I can fly, to give the best of mine, the heaven in the sky. Can't you believe that you light up my way? No matter how that is my path, I'll never lose my faith. See me fly, I'm proud to fly up. 不能一直依赖别人给我拥戴。Believe me, I can fly, I'm singing in the sky. 你曾经对我说，做勇敢的女孩。Nothing can stop me, spread my wings so wide.
Right, well, now we're moving on to some prizes that are being awarded, and I think you're going to hear from Mr. Lawrence.
Hello, wherever you may be watching this. A regular part at the end of the academic year at Concord is the prizes for the different subjects. Your heads of department and your teachers have been putting their heads together online, and they've come up with the following list of prize givers. The Art Prize, the 6-1 Art Prize for 2020 goes to Wenziu Huang. The Biology Prize goes to Helen Hai. Next is Chemistry. The Chemistry Prize for 2020 goes to George Lin. Next is Economics. The Economics Prize goes to Thibault Lecoeur. The English Prize for 2020 goes to Karen Chiang. Next is Geography. Geography Prize for 2020 goes to Emma Lee. German is next. The German Prize goes to Felicia Ballan. Next is history, and the history prize also goes to Karen Chian, so well done Karen indeed. Next is music. The music prize is for Nico Lee. And the physics prize for 2020 goes to Davon Hallin. That leaves us with the very competitive prizes for mathematics, and the prize for single maths 2020 goes to Judy Chen. And finally, the double maths prize for June 2020 goes to Davon Hallen, a second prize for Davon, so extremely well done there in a very competitive field. It's very strange doing these prizes without any cheering and applause, but I hope that has brought satisfaction to those prize winners. Thank you very much.
Well, this has been quite a year for us all, hasn't it? But I'd just like to take this opportunity in this whole school assembly to let you know how the lower school have been getting on. They've had quite a time of it with the online learning, as you can imagine, with many of them on 9 period days throughout the whole 3 months. Well done to them all. Yesterday we had a lower school awards ceremony when we celebrated the various achievements and endeavours of the students in Form 3, Form 4 and Form 5 and gave our thanks to them all. But what I'd like to do now is to share with you 2 more prizes. The first goes to a group of Form 5s who took part in the Young Enterprise competition, a prize that was only judged yesterday and so was too late to go into our assembly. The winning team was Griffin's Garden. The groups were all asked to take £10 and turn it into a brand new business venture. This team created an education pack for primary schools. They did their market research and decided on their unique selling points and came up with this pack for school children, including a book and seeds to grow for themselves. The winning team were Anna Garziera, Maggie Meow, Evelyn Jennings, Shinglock So and Victor Sun. Very, very well done to them all. Of course, for the lower school, the 2 greatest prizes are the Junior Frank Bell prizes. And I'd just like to share those with the whole school since they are so significant. For the girls this year, my right hand, Chloe Nicole Lowe. And for the boys, Barney Cansdale. Both of these students have truly represented the very heart and ethos of Concord College, and I commend them to the 6th form next year and wish them all both very, very well indeed. Thank you to you all. Have a good summer. Goodbye.
And now we move on to Dr. Outram, who's going to award the House Trophy and the Albert Leon Trophy.
Okay, good morning. It's a shame you can't be here with us today. We've had a very quiet end of this term, but I do have some wonderful sporting presentations to make. And first of all, I want to present this cup. This is the Albert Leon Cup for Outstanding Contribution to Sport. Albert Leon was a teacher at Concord for many, many years. He was a maths teacher initially, and then in the sports department. He single-handedly ran sport for many years, and he himself made an outstanding contribution to Concord. And then when he retired, he left us this cup to present to the student who's made the biggest contribution to sport for the year. So this year, this student has contributed immensely when it comes to all sports in Concord. He joined Concord in 2016, Form 4, and played many sports throughout the lower school and continued in the upper school. In football, basketball and badminton teams, he is a team player and knows the value of working together. In house events, he has also shown his dedication and talent, helping Teresa garner many points and making sure the games were a challenge for the other houses. Everyone needs individual stars in sports, but a team cannot function without the players that united everyone's skills. And this is what he has done. Every team needs a hard-working player like this student, and he is exactly that. So many congratulations to this year's Albert Leon Cup recipient, Gavin Chen. Well done, Gavin. Now, on to the big one, the House Cup. As you can see, we have prepared it to present in a minute, but let me just talk through the last few weeks of term. Unfortunately, it was cut short this year. We had a few competitions that were not quite finished, and we have decided, looking at the results, who the winners of those will be. Okay, so congratulations first of all to Gandhi for winning the Upper School House Netball competition, to Pankhurst, who won the Upper School House Badminton competition, to Gandhi, who won the Upper School House Football competition, to Mandela, who won the Upper School House Boys Basketball competition, and Gandhi, who won the Girls Basketball competition. So congratulations to all of you. Unfortunately, the films were not quite finished, so we've decided not to award that competition this year, but do look forward to viewing any that are available as and when. And of course, it was a real shame that you couldn't be here for the house athletics or the swimming competitions that were due to take place this year. Looking back though, however, we did have a huge number of competitions that have been completed, and we have awarded probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the points that we should have awarded through the year. So plenty enough to decide the winning house. Through the year, we had the cross country, a very great start for Gandhi, and all houses won competitions in lower school sports competition, including Teresa for badminton, Gandhi for football, Pankhurst for netball, Mandela for water polo, and similarly winners in all these sporting competitions in upper school. Highlight for me for the year was the House Arts competition. It's a wonderful event, and I'm looking forward to again happening next year, and congratulations to Pankhurst for winning that. Before I present the cup formally, I would like to say a huge thank you to all who took part in any of these competitions, to the house captains and prefects in particular for all the organisation and work they did, and of course the heads of house for pulling it all together. So well done to everybody who competed, and more than any of those, I think, to the sports department and those who helped organise and run these events. So a huge thank you to them as well. Okay, on to the cup itself. You can see the beautiful ribbons on it. So we're ready to present it. So I'm going to call up the head of house and assistant head of house for Pankhurst. And congratulations from me to Pankhurst House.
We're really happy to receive this cup on behalf of Pankhurst. We have had a great year, and you've been an amazing house, so congratulations.
We are always and forever a happy house.
And today even more so. Well done, Pankhurst.
And now we move on to another piece of music, this time from the B Band. Thank you very much to them for putting this together. It's a song again that they've written called C'est la vie.
Norman, get me some crispy wings. 5, please.
Oh, Maggie, I thought you were keeping on diet.
Yeah, whatever. Can I have a chicken burger, please?
Guys, shh. The song's about to start.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Daydreams, the sky was high. We didn't know we didn't have much time. Grinding on Saturday tests, we thought that it sucked. But honestly, you won't believe time here flies so quickly. So live in the moment, yeah. C'est la vie, oh.
The days seem hard to forget, but like yesterdays, and we've all just met. Cooking in hot pots in a student kitchen, yeah, life's the best. Wandering in the dark past the bigger at night, yeah. Memories were made. So live in the moment, yeah. C'est la vie.
Don't you forget me when I'm gone. Happy and sad memories, the years we shared, the years we lived. Oh,
and sad memories, the years we shared, the years we lived. Oh, I already know. Even through the harshest years, to cherish every moment of it all. 时间无情夺走了欢乐，只留下不舍的回忆。每个场景，每个画面，我含着泪或者道别。台面上发下的产品，那天花手手的曾经，就可能笑着我们最近日的一切。Don't you forget me when I'm gone. Happy and sad memories, the years we shared, the years we lived. Oh, I already know. Even through the harshest years, to cherish every moment of it all. Every moment.
And now I've asked Mr. Kerslake to just, I actually didn't feel the assembly would be complete without a Mr. Kerslake mnemonic. So he is going to be reminding you of a few bits of housekeeping that we need to be mindful of for the future.
Right, hello. Well, it's the end of year assembly and I always do a silly mnemonic. So here's this year's mnemonic. From the UK government: stay alert, control the virus, save lives. But no, that would be boring. We need to make this Concord. So I've had another go. Keep alert, enjoy the summer, inculcate memories. Inculcate means to fix firmly in your memory, just in case, as an English teacher, you didn't know the meaning of inculcate. So, keep alert. Let's look at those first. Keep keys. Boarders must return your bedroom and safe keys via secure means, courier or sort of registered post, before 1st of August. Otherwise, your parents will get that bill for £50 per key, and they won't like that. So, return your keys. Alert stands for address. 6-2 students need to visit the UCAS website and change your postal address from Concord to your home address, please. So keep alert. Now we move on to enjoy the summer. Yes, enjoy stands for email. If you would like to get your exam results by email this summer, you need to check that your inbox has room and it's not full. Check your college email inbox and make sure there's room for that results email from Dr. Outram in August that you know you want. Then, the summer. Yes, 6-2s, your luggage has been stored. It's at various storage companies. Mrs. Kerslake has emailed you about this. You need to get in touch with them because they want your money to pay for the storage. And they also want to know where to send your luggage to the university of your dreams come September or October. So that's enjoy the summer. And finally, we move on to inculcate memories. So, inculcate is a reminder of IELTS. 6-2 students who need IELTS should make sure that Mrs. Carell has a copy of your IELTS certificate, since we might need it for your applications for university. And finally, memories. Medicines. Those of you who are returning to us next year, we found many medicines in bedrooms. We shouldn't be finding any medicines in bedrooms. Please only bring essential medicines with you, such as asthma inhalers and EpiPens and any prescribed medication. Okay, so the UK government says, stay alert, control the virus, and save lives. But Mr. Kerslake and Concord says, keep alert, enjoy the summer, inculcate memories. Remember, keys, address change, email check, storage company contact, IELTS certificates and medicines. Stay safe, have a great summer. That's all from me.
We've also, this morning, we have a piece of music that I think the lower school heard on Thursday, but Hugo Fung has composed a piece of music that Hannah Kim has written some lyrics for that reflect a little on the experiences that we've all shared and the isolation that we've shared in the last few weeks and months. It's a very fine piece of music, and thank you, Hugo and Hannah, for the work that's gone into it.
Another day, another morning again. Repetitive is how we really live. I'm suffocating under the burden of saying bird, but I don't want to live my life just waiting for another day to pass. Oh, I just want to look outside and be filled with celebration. Another day is another way to spread joy and motivation. I don't want to live my life in a circle of hesitation. I choose to open up my eyes to opportunities I've been given, yeah. Today, just today. Come on, baby. In the evening when the stress of life comes flooding in, it seems the hope is strong, no sign of solid ground, just crashing waves and howling wind. But why do you have to worry? Why are you in such a hurry? Ask the voice that comes to see. It won't sing, it says to me. So now I choose to look outside and be filled with celebration. Another day is another way to spread joy and motivation. I don't want to live my life in a cycle of hesitation. I open up my eyes to see the opportunities I've been given. I'll fight for joy in the morning instead of just yawning. Open my eyes and realize that there is hope. I'll be thanking the one who puts breath in my lungs, gives me another day today.
I want to finish the assembly and finish the year, I suppose, reflecting on the word isolation, because I'm sure you have had these moments, and I certainly have, where I've thought, I don't like this much, and I have a loving family and I have good friends and colleagues I really enjoy working with. But I think that sense that we have been forced to isolate ourselves from others has been difficult. And I want to share with you a story which I think might hopefully give a little comfort. I quite like the wisdom of the North American Indian tribes, the tribes that lived in North America, well, the Native Americans lived there before the white people came. And they don't have a written tradition, it's an oral tradition. Their stories are passed on by word of mouth. And there's one tribe called the Cherokee who have a sort of passage, a rite of passage. So rather than going to school, young men and young women traditionally went through different, different practices, had different experiences as they went from being boys and girls into womanhood and into manhood. And the boys had a tradition where they were taken out into the forest, and this would happen to an individual. So the individual would be taken out into the forest. And there's one particular story of a boy, I don't know, maybe he was 13, 14, whatever, taken into he was coming towards this time when he was going to have to go and go out into the forest, and it was deep in the winter, and it was cold, and the wind was blowing. It had been a stormy time, and the wolves were howling, and the bears were roaming, and he was scared. And his family said to him, "You must go. This is what you must do. You've got to do this. This is part of what you must do." And he said, I don't want to. I don't want to do this. I'll feel isolated. I'll be alone, and I need you. I need your support. And his family said, you have no choice. You must do this. But the other part of this that makes it even more difficult is that when they were taken into the forest, the boys were blindfolded. So as he left his home, he was blindfolded and led off into the forest. And this happened at dusk. So you'd be there from when the sun went down until dawn when the sun came up. So he was taken out to the forest and didn't know where he was. He was told he must not remove the blindfold. And so he had to sit there for the entire night. And during the night, he heard the howling of the wind, the howling of the wolves, the rustling in the trees, which he didn't know what it was. It was cold, and he felt alone, and he felt abandoned, and wondered if he'd survive the night. And the dawn came. The dawn came. And he could hear the birds starting to call. If you remember here at Concord, when the sun comes up, the birds start to sing. He could hear the birds singing. And he thought, I've survived. And he was allowed to take the blindfold off when the dawn came. So he thought, right, I'll take the blindfold off and I'll make my way back to the village. And he took the blindfold off. And sitting just a few meters away from him was his father. And his father had been there through the night to make sure that he was safe. But of course, the boy hadn't known he was there. And so the boy had shown the courage to get through the night, but his family had always been there to look after him. And I hope really that you've had that experience during this time, that you've not felt alone, even as you've been isolated, that you've felt together with those who love you, together with your friends, together with the wider Concord community, because we have all experienced this together. And I tell you what I'm really looking forward to, and that is those of you who are returning to us in September, when we are back together and when we are able to share time together. And I do hope you will have a really enjoyable summer. And as the world begins to shift a little bit and we're hopefully able all to come together on the 1st of September again, we'll do so with joy in our hearts. Thank you.